Hi everyone, it's Megan and I'm very excited to be sharing close to my heart's newest promotion, Creativity in Motion, which is a fantastic interactive card. It's really cool. Let me show you actually. Let me show you to give you an idea. So this is a card that I made earlier and you'll see as I move the butterfly that you get that motion. So I'm going to show you how to make one of these. Let's get started. So there is a really good instruction sheet with the kit when you purchase it. And the first thing that you need to do is to create a frame and base with a stitched rectangle or square. So close to my heart have a range of squares and rectangles. So these are my squares, and when I cut things, I put the spears in the back of my folder. So I happen to have a white one here because I want to use white as my base. Okay, so you could use squares or rectangles. I'm using squares today. So that's step one. Step two is you need to create a tabbed border. So the tabbed border is this part here, and we have some beautiful new thin cuts to do that with. So 4 different designs to choose from. And I just love this design, so I'm just going to choose that again. You need to cut this, when you cut this, they recommend that you use a piece of paper that is at least a centimetre wide, and I happened to have a piece in my stash that was exactly like that, and I've chosen to use, so my frame is in sapphire, and this piece that I'm going to use, my tab, is the other side of the sapphire. So all close to my heart cardstock is two-toned, so you have a dark side and a light side, which is just perfect for doing things like this. Saves you having to buy and find another piece of paper that tones with it. So actually I'm not going to run that through in front of you because that will make my video go wobbly, but I'm sure you all understand what cutting with a cuttlebug looks like, and this is the result. Okay, so what we're going to do now, or step 3 in the process, is to cut an animation sheet. So included in your kit are 3 animation sheets that look like this. They're in acetate that are printed with the lines, and you get 3 12 by 12 pieces. We're using squares today, so it doesn't matter which way you cut it, whether it's because it's a square, so we can put the lines either way. But if you were doing a rectangle, you need to think about which way your lines are, because you need your lines to line up with your stamp image. It will all make sense in a minute. Okay, so step number 4 is to stamp our animation image onto our base. So here's my base, and the stamp set that I am using today is one from a collection that comes in the Creativity in Motion collection. So this is the butterflies and dragonfly, and dragonflies are my favorite. I'm actually using a butterfly today, so let's just ink that up and get that stamped. Tap tap, twist twist, tap tap. I'm doing it so hard, I'm making my screen wobble, aren't I? Sorry. So when you're stamping, the most important thing is getting your lines vertical, okay? And I can use the lines in my in the stitching to help line that up. Hope that's nice and vertical. Okay, so it looks a bit funny, but it will come all right. Now actually, while I've got my ink out, I'm also going to stamp this little border. So there is another stamp set with lots of cool little sayings. So last time I used ooh fancy. Let's use something different this time. So how about, in fact, why don't we just we'll do pull here, because that is just nice and simple. No room for confusion, hopefully, on that one. Just ink that up, and Et voila. Okay, now the other thing, before I carry on creating this card, I cut a base for my card, and I want to, in the stamp set, there is a nice cool little grungy image, and I want to use that. So this paper, I don't know if you can see, it's got a little bit of that grunge in it already, and I just want to add to that. And this paper tones with julep and mint, and I know that because I read the zip strip on this paper pack. It's always the handiest thing to know what you're working with. I love bits of splatter. Just add to that. Now I'm going to be covering up the middle, so I won't worry too much about that. And we'll have a little bit just coming off the page there. Cool. You can never have too much of those little grunge elements. Okay. So step number 5 is to attach our border tab to the base, to our base. So this is our border tab, and this is our base. And what they recommend is that you have at least 1/4 of an inch. So this is where using your the Close to My Heart Versamat is really handy, because you've got these markings on here. Each one of these squares is 1/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is just run my tape down this edge, and then I can place this, and again I'm using my lines along here, so I get my top and bottom, get that all lined up, and that's 1/4 of an inch. Perfect, huh? And then we will just trim that to size. Now I could have done that in my trimmer, but it's just much faster doing that way. So there we have our mechanism. Actually, I didn't cut that very straight. Let's try that again. Okay. Now we attach the animation sheet, step number 6, to the back of the frame with adhesive. So this is our frame, and we need our animation sheet is going to go onto the back of it, okay? So around here, like so. So again, I'm just using my trusty Close to My Heart tape. This one is my absolute favorite. I use it for most things, and I love it because it goes on so easily, and it's a little bit forgiving. You can move things in the first little while, which I often need to do because I change my mind. Okay. So my animation sheet I stuck to the back, okay, so that's there. And then step number 7, we add 3D foam tape to 3 sides. So 1, 2, 3, and that will allow the frame that this will then be able to slide in that gap. So you need this slimmer foam tape, and you can just run that along those edges. Now, did you know that you can actually tear the foam tape? I didn't know that, and I have been doing it, and it does work really well, which is great because I'm always losing my scissors. But in this case, I want to be really precise about where it finishes, so I am using my scissors, and for once I can actually find them. And because I'm always losing my scissors, I own 3 pairs of them, and they are the best scissors I have ever worked with. But that doesn't stop me losing them because I have a lovely big studio, and I tend to spread out and make the most of all of the space that I have. Okay, so that is ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is just prepare the rest of my card. And I did bring my card base. So I've got my card base, fold it, bumps in. This is my base paper. I'll stick that on my card. I have this. This is actually the back of that paper, so I cut a strip of that. And I'm going to lay that about here. And then I'm going to put this here, I think. Yep. that works for me. Okay, so we're going to pull this out, so that foam tape is double-sided. So we'll just pull that adhesive off, stick this on to our card, and then pop our animation piece in. Oopsie. And I've made it a little bit tight. So what I'm going to do, and if that happens to you, just grab your trimmer and trim a teeny tiny bit off, because you do want it to be able to be moved in and out nice and easily. So let's try that again. There we go. So how about that? How cool is that? Et voila, creativity in motion. Order your kit from your Close to My Heart consultant, available August and September only. Thanks for watching.